What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Buskirk here, coming to you from my house. It is once again time for another update. It's March 25th. My last update was 6 days ago. I have tons and tons of questions to get through that you guys have been asking. You guys have been emailing me about. Some parents have been emailing me about. So I look forward to addressing those with you. I do miss you guys. I miss seeing you. I miss being in class with you. A lot of you have said that you're very bored at home. I agree. It's kind of it's not the most fun thing just being stuck here, in the house all the time. But it is what it is, and I'll explain. I'll give you some numbers later on as to why it is important that we stay home, hashtag stay home for Nevada. And I have a ton of answers to your questions. But I also need you guys to understand, and I'm going to say this right here from the beginning, that this is a very, very rapidly changing situation. There were things that I said, like in the last video, that like by the time the video was done recording and posted to YouTube, that were like already out of date. That's how fast this situation is changing. That's why I kind of waited to post a lot of work to Google Classroom. That's why I've waited to make this video, is because things are just changing so fast, and I want to make sure I'm giving you accurate information that follows guidelines for what the government is saying, for what CCSD is saying, for what our school is saying. So I want to make sure that that's all, in line, to make sure I'm giving you the best and most accurate information. I want to give you some quick updates, and then I will jump into your questions that you guys have been asking. The first thing I want to say, and this is the most important thing, is that I am very happy to hear that a lot of you are safe. So far, a lot of you have answered that Google form I put out for attendance. I appreciate that, and everyone's indicated that they're safe, their family is safe. Guys, stay inside, practice social distancing, wash your hands. If you're coughing, do this. And let's keep, let's look out for each other, and let's stay safe. If you do get the symptoms of COVID-19, the main ones, the telltale signs, are a fever, a dry cough, and shortness of breath. Then you're going to definitely want to self-quarantine. You're going to want to call a physician. Call your doctor, explain your symptoms to them, and they'll kind of tell you where to go. The big issue right now in our country is just kind of the lack of testing and how hard it is to give a test. Right now in the state of Nevada, they have given out it's like 5,500 tests, and 321 of those have come back positive for coronavirus. So it's pretty difficult to get a test. You have to really be showing the symptoms to get a test. But unfortunately, you can have the coronavirus and not show any symptoms, and you can be walking around like infecting other people. And that's why that's the big difference between this and the flu. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's the same thing as the flu. There's a lot of similarities, but the biggest difference is that someone has the flu, like when they're contagious, they have a fever and all that. Coronavirus, the person will look completely fine, and they're walking around infecting everyone. That's why this is such a huge problem. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I am happy to hear that you're all safe, but do not let your guard down. Just please continue those precautions. Next thing I want to give you an update on is just some national news. Late last night, early this morning, and it is Tuesday, or what day is it? Wednesday, or late Tuesday, early Wednesday. I'm like losing track of the days now. The federal government, let me pull it up here. They passed a relief package for a $2 trillion relief package for the Americans. It's a bailout package. So here's what it looks like. Okay, let me rephrase that. They did not pass it yet. They came to a deal on it. They have not voted on it. They should vote on it today. If you guys remember from 7th grade, both houses of Congress have to pass a bill. They have to vote on it. They have to pass it. And then the president of the United States has to sign it for it to become a law. But there's some interesting stuff here I want you guys to know about. The biggest thing that you're probably going to be interested in is that the government, I believe for the first time ever, someone correct me if I'm wrong, parent, other teacher, student, if you're watching this, I want to say this is one of the first times in U.S. history where the federal government is going to pay, like give direct checks to Americans, most Americans, not all Americans. So this is a true $2 trillion bailout package. They're going to give direct payments to most Americans. More on that in a second. $250 billion for unemployment insurance. I did have a few students indicate to me that their parents, unfortunately, they lost their jobs. They were laid off. Nevada is going to be hit very hard by that. So this should definitely help. This should give some relief to that. $350 billion in loans for small businesses. I know for a fact a lot of your parents run their own business, so that should help. $500 billion in aid for larger companies. They are going to bail out the airline industry. It's the airline industry. Because if they don't do that, all the airlines are going to go bankrupt. I don't know if you've looked at how much flights cost these days. Flights are dirt cheap. Remember I taught you guys about supply and demand. So they're going to bail out the airline industry. $130 billion to hospitals. They absolutely need it, especially in New York. And $150 billion to help local and state governments. Now, you're probably wondering about those checks. Are you, Del H. Robeson middle school student, are you going to get a check from the government? Kind of. Here's what it says. It says that adults get the check. As long as you're making under $75,000, an adult will get $1,200. Married couples will get $2,400. And for each child you have, you get an additional $500. And I believe there's a limit to how many kids. It doesn't say. Okay, I want to say there's a limit, though. So if you have like 10 kids, I don't think you're going to get 10 checks. The number starts to go down past 75,000. And what if you make $198,000, you get nothing, unfortunately. The government's not going to give you anything because you make $198,000. Why would you need more money from the government? They're going to base this on how much money you filed on your tax return, your most recent tax return, either 2018 or 19. So since you, a Del H. Robeson middle school student, have not filed taxes, they're going to give the checks to your parents. So just FYI. The government expects to be sending out $250 billion worth of checks. When are you going to see the checks? Probably between April 6th to April 15th, like mid-April is what this source is saying. Now keep in mind, this has not been approved by Congress. This hasn't been signed by the president, but I know this was a concern brought up by several students, so I wanted to address that. Next update I have for you. A bunch of students asked about the school year. So we are not going to reopen on April 13th or 14th. The earliest we could possibly reopen now is April 16th. Okay, that is coming from Governor Sisolak. So Joan Ebert, she's the state superintendent. She announced a few days ago two big announcements, which I'm going to tell you right now. First is that the school years, the earliest schools can reopen is April 16th. That's a Thursday. Okay, so we are officially out of school until April 16th. We are doing distance learning, online learning until April 16th. That's official. Before April 16th, probably, I'm going to guess like the weekend before Easter, the government is going to look at how many cases of coronavirus. They're going to see if that curve is starting to flatten. If it is, they'll probably reopen. If it's not, they're going to keep us closed. And I can explain that more later. But that's what they're going to use to decide. But the earliest we could possibly reopen is April 16th. The reason why is because of Governor Sisolak's 30-day order to shut down all businesses. The second announcement that Joan Ebert had was that SBAC, ACT, all standardized testing, AP tests in college are all canceled. Okay, they've been suspended. Now, that's problematic if you're a high school student, because the AP test is very important. I know that some high schools already took the ACT. A lot of high schools took it in February before this all went down, but if the high school did not take it, I do know that College Board, the people who administer the ACT and the AP test, they're trying to be flexible and trying to figure out a way to still administer it if you want to take it. So they're working on that right now. But officially, SBAC, you will not be taking it this year. That came from President Trump. He's the one that put a kibosh on that, and then Joan Ebert said we're not going to be doing that test this year. Next announcement I have is about attendance. You guys should have seen my email, parents, students, about how we're going to be taking attendance. First off, here's why we're taking attendance. It's so we don't have to make up all these days at the end of the school year. I don't know if we're going to reopen. I don't want to speculate on that in a YouTube video. I think that would be reckless for me to do that. I'll give you the numbers later on and you can decide for yourself. The government realizes that this situation's not looking great right now. So they found a way to where we do not have to do the makeup days. So the way they're going to do that is, if as long as we have a way of taking attendance and as long as teachers have a way of clocking in and out, which we're doing online now, then technically we are at school, if that makes sense. So I posted attendance forms on Google Classroom. All you got to do is log in, push a button, and there you go. You're marked present Monday through Friday. It's that simple. That's the reason why, and this was the number one question I got on my last YouTube video, is so that we do not have to make up attendance. Now, my only question is, the one thing I'm not sure about is we did not do that for the first 4 days of the closure, which was March 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. Those 4 days we might have to make up. I don't know. But I guarantee starting like March 20th was the first day that teachers had to clock in, and 23rd was the first day we started taking attendance. We do not have to make up those days because we're in school, if that makes sense. Halo students, it's especially important for you. We are required to make contact with each and every one of you. The 28 students in my Halo class, you guys know that I called you. I called your phones. If I did not hear from you on Google Classroom, we have to continue doing that. So please, it is very important that we make sure that we are establishing contact on Google Classroom. So please make sure you're answering that. A lot of questions. I'm just going to address this now about grading and work. A lot of you are asking about grades and work. So here's the deal with that. We finally got some clarification. We went through a number of meetings. We kind of hashed this out. This week, I'm going to speak for my classroom, not for other teachers. I'm going to speak for myself here. The work I gave you this week is a digital version of the packet that they're giving out at the food distribution site. The reason I did that is because we needed to figure out what exactly we could upload and what we couldn't. And we didn't really figure that out until about an hour ago. So that's why I didn't upload any geography, history related stuff, social studies stuff. I am going to start uploading that starting on Monday of next week. Just so we can have some time to kind of gather that, make it look good for you guys, and then we'll upload that for geography. Will there be a grade attached to it? The answer is yes, there will be. However, if you don't do it, you will not be penalized. It won't hurt your grade. Be careful with that, though, because at some point, the government is going to have to figure out how they are going to, award grades, how they are going to, give out credits, especially for seniors who are trying to graduate. So parents who are listening, students who are listening, you might want to do the work, because you never know when the government is just going to turn around and say, hey, for quarter 4, you need to award a pass-fail grade based on how they've been doing on their distance learning. And if a student has completed nothing for distance learning, how could I give them a passing grade? Like logically, how could I do that? It doesn't make any sense. So I suggest parents, students, you complete the work. It is in your best interest to do that. You either get full points or you get no points. That's how this works. To get the full points, this is what we decided today. That's why I haven't posted anything yet. For geography, and I'm going to do this for film as well, is we're going to post content, okay, a PowerPoint, reading, whatever it is, and you guys will be expected to write a summary. We'll post a little rubric as to what the summary is, and as long as you meet the requirements of what we ask, like, hey, write 3 to 5 sentences about the causes of World War II using 2 to 3 vocab words that you learned from the lesson. As long as you do that, you get points for the week. It'll only be 1 grade a week. It'll alternate between, assessment, classwork, and performance. And it'll be 10 points, and that's how we're going to do grades from here on out until if schools reopen. If schools reopen, we'll go back to the normal 3 grades per week. But that is what we decided to do. If you don't do it, if you don't do it at all, or if you don't, you barely try the summary, then we won't take points off your grade. We're just going to excuse it. And like I said, that you might be sitting there thinking, well, I'm not going to do anything. It doesn't matter anyways. Why would I do it? Why would I waste my time? I'm not going to do this. You don't know when or if the government is going to change their mind. Like I said, at some point, the government is going to have to figure out a way to award credit to students. And I will give you some coronavirus numbers later. Are schools going to reopen? I don't know. You look at the numbers and decide for yourself. The numbers aren't looking good. So at some point, they're going to say, you got to figure out a solution to pass these kids or not. And if a student in my class has done no work at all, how could I pass them? I don't know. All right. So my point is, just log in. It shouldn't take you that long. Okay? We're not going to do daily work. I'm not going to do that. We agreed as a class in my geography classes that we would not do daily work. And I am going to hold to that. Okay? Unfortunately, I cannot upload the entire course at once. We can't do that. Okay? But I'm going to post it on Mondays from here on out. You will have the whole week to do it. Because I get it. A lot of you are watching siblings now. A lot of you some of you, I pray to God, I hope you do not get sick. But if it comes to that, that's a possibility. Some of you, your parents are going through a hard time. I am aware of all that. Okay? So, I'm not going to expect perfection from you. I am going to expect that you look at it, you try it, and you do the best you can given your situation and your circumstances. I think that's fair. You guys always have known that I've always demanded the best from you, and I'm still going to demand the best from you, given your situation. So that's where I'm at with grades and work. All right, let's move on to your questions. This is already a 20-minute video, so let's jump into your questions. All right, question number 1. Are we getting Chromebooks? The answer is right now, no. The superintendent, Jesus Jara, believes that there are about 120,000 students in the school district who do not have access either to internet or a device. That's just a guess on his part. I'm not sure where he's getting that information from, but he has some way of finding out that number. He is asking the school districts to find out more information on that. But right now, we do not believe we have enough Chromebooks to give out to everyone. So with that said, we can't give them out because it wouldn't be fair if like period 1 gets Chromebooks, but period 2 doesn't. Like that wouldn't be fair. So right now, no, like we can't give out Chromebooks. The district's not giving out technology at this time. That could change though. We'll see. Now, question 2, when will school reopen? Right now, the earliest would be April 16th. But again, they're going to probably evaluate that the week we would have been on spring break, that week before Easter. I know President Trump said he wants the whole country or parts of the country to reopen by Easter. Will that happen? We'll see. Numbers are not looking good. We'll see about that. Next question. When can I turn in my quarter 4 work? So let me clarify that. For film class had, I believe, here, let me pull up Infinite Campus. I'll tell you exactly how many assignments film class had, because it's different between film and, of course, when I make a YouTube video, Infinite Campus decides not to work. All right, I'll go off memory then. I want to say film had, you guys had a Google Slides assignment about Westerns. You had the Shane Google Doc where you had to answer questions. You had the drawing about Shane. I probably can't make that up, so we'll excuse that one. And you had the sub work. So that realistically, there were 4 grades in the grade book for film. One of them, it would be like impossible to make up. The sub work, if you wanted to make that up, just email me and I can send you the sub work and you can make that up. So film, you had 4 grades. 3 of them you can make up. Geo, you had 3 grades for quarter 4. The group project, group accountability, and the sub work. Those were your 3 grades for quarter 4. The group project, a lot of you have shared that with me. I never put that in Google Classroom. I just asked you to share it with me. Just any member of the group, just share it. I have not graded those yet. I should be doing that by the end of this week. So make sure you share that with me. But yeah, so Geo, there was the group project, group accountability, and the sub work. Those are the 3 grades I had assigned for Geo. Group accountability, can't make that up. Yeah. I think only 2 students got credit for that, so we're going to just excuse that. I'm not going to delete it from the gradebook, but I am going to excuse it. Group project, you can still get credit for. Just try and turn it in by Friday, because that's when I'm going to get grades done. But if you want to turn it in after Friday, really, you have until the end of the quarter. Okay, but don't wait until then. Just try and get it in as soon as you can. And then the sub work, if you wanted to make that up, just email me. And a lot of students have emailed me about that. I can send that to you, and you can make that up as well. Those grades do count, so just make sure you get those done. That I can give you partial credit for and all that. So the group project, as long as you make an honest attempt to do it, I'll give you full points. It won't be 100 points. It'd probably be 30. And the sub work, just make sure you get that done. All right, that's where we are with quarter 4 grades. Try and get it in by Friday, but if it's after Friday, it is what it is. Next question. Mr. V, do we really have to be inside all day? I'm so bored. It sucks being inside all day. I don't understand why we have to do this. All right, so now I'm going to talk about coronavirus numbers with you. When I made the last video, it was March 19th, right? That was 6 days ago. On March 19th, there were 244,000 coronavirus cases in the world. Okay, so when I made the last YouTube video, there were 244,000 cases in the world. Right now, as I sit here, there are 445,000 cases. So that number has almost doubled. Okay? In the United States, when I made the last video, the number in the United States was 13,000 cases of coronavirus. When I made the last YouTube video 6 days ago. The number now is just about at 60,000. The number has almost doubled in like 2 days. The number in the United States is spiking. Okay? In Nevada, on March 19th, there were 96 corona cases in Nevada. Right now, there are 321. The good news is that Nevada's rate is a little bit slower. Okay? But again, it's kind of a deceiving number because we can't test everyone. We don't know what the actual number is. It's probably a lot higher than 321. Okay, it's really hard to get a test at this time. Okay, and remember what I said at the beginning. You can be asymptomatic and be like running around infecting everyone. That's why you need to stay inside. Okay? Like, I understand it sucks and it's boring and you get cabin fever. I get it. I agree. But we've got problems in the world right now. This could be probably the worst pandemic in U.S. history, one of the worst. I know there was the Spanish flu in 1918. That was a really bad one. There have been outbreaks before in pandemics. But and I'm obviously not counting the pandemic that killed and wiped out the Native Americans, not counting that. Okay, I'm talking like in the established history of the United States government, this could potentially be one of the worst. The problem right now that we're facing is we have to balance out, especially in Nevada, saving lives and saving the economy. Now, you'd think the answer would be easy, right? Just save lives. But there are people, powerful people, who think that the economy should be propped up, and in some cases, that you might have to do things that could potentially put people in danger. We have like people pushing for businesses to reopen and people pushing for schools to reopen. We cannot reopen safely until we flatten the curve. What I mean by that is the rate of corona cases needs to kind of slow down so that we do not overwhelm the healthcare system. That's what's going on in Italy right now. That's what's going on in New York City right now. They do not have enough ventilators. They do not have enough beds for people. That is a very scary possibility. I'm not saying this to try and scare you. I'm just saying that is why you need to stay inside. And I agree. It does suck. It does be bored. But, I want you to look at this as an opportunity. This is especially for parents who are watching this, adults. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity to work on yourself, for self-improvement, to do projects that you've been putting off, to do things you've been putting off. Look for ways, teach yourself a new skill. For example, I'm learning how to make YouTube videos. I'm learning more about investing money. I'm learning about how to be a better person for myself. Use that opportunity. You may never get another chance in your life to where all life just kind of pauses, takes a break, and you get a chance like this. You may never see it again. So use that opportunity. See, look at it like that. Don't look at it as I'm just sitting here bored with nothing to do. I'm just going to play Fortnite all the time. Don't look at it like that. Look at it as an opportunity to be the best version of yourself. And I don't want to hear that you're too young for it. It's like, bruh, you're like 13, 14, 15. You can absolutely teach yourself a skill. Teach yourself something. Make yourself better. Okay? At some point, you're going to get sick of playing PS4 constantly. Or maybe you won't. I don't know. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing ideas out there. We are getting lots and lots of work from math and science. Man, good for your math and science teachers then. That's excellent. I'm glad that they're having you work. Some students are saying that their math and science teachers are having them do daily work, and they have the right to do that. I want you guys to understand that Miss Ravelo gave each department, math, science, English, social studies, we have like control over what our department does. It's not like every single teacher in every single subject has to do the exact same thing. That's not the case. So yes, it might be a little bit different from teacher to teacher, from subject to subject. Okay. We chose in social studies to do it weekly. Some departments might have you do it daily. Just do the work. Remember what I said about pass-fail grades. Okay, just keep that in mind, all right? What work are we supposed to do? Like I said, I'll be uploading that on Monday. For this week, it's just that packet, that CCSD packet. If you get a chance to do it, great. If not, great. It is what it is. Really, the work I'm going to be really looking at is the work starting on Monday, okay? Does heat affect the coronavirus? When it gets hotter outside, will that slow down the coronavirus? The answer is no, it will not. And here's how I know that. There are coronavirus cases in the southern hemisphere. If you guys remember from our geography lessons, the southern hemisphere has like kind of the opposite weather is what the northern hemisphere has. So they're in Australia, for example. What's the weather in Australia right now? Let's go to Sydney, Australia. That's where Tom Hanks got the coronavirus. He was in Australia. Like right now in Australia, it's 64 degrees, as high as 78 degrees, and people are getting coronavirus down there, and there are hotter days in Australia, the corona, like the outback is a lot hotter, and there's coronavirus spreading across that country. So no, heat, it's not like flu where like the hotter it gets, flu season seems to kind of die out. Cold weather does not cause viruses. It's just that viruses are easier to spread in cold weather, but with the coronavirus, that does not appear to be slowing it down. So no, hot weather, heat does not appear to slow it down or anything like that, okay? And be careful about what you see on the internet. I've seen a lot of misinformation. I've seen people, adults, family members posting, if you do this, this, and this, then it proves you have coronavirus. Toilet paper is infecting coronavirus. That's nonsense. Just be careful with what you see. Use your critical thinking skills. That's what I've been teaching you all year. All right. When will grades be updated? My goal is Friday for that. Can you play Fortnite with me? No, I cannot, because Fortnite takes up too much space on my PS4 and on my phone, so I deleted it. On my PS4, I needed to make room for Red Dead Redemption 2, and obviously I'm still playing The Witcher 3. Both games take forever to beat. Excellent games, but I'm more into single-player games. The only multiplayer game I play is Madden. I'm really into Madden, but that's really it, like football. How often will I post work? I will post work once a week on Mondays, starting this Monday. So that answers all your questions. Guys, make sure you check in. You answer the attendance form on Google Classroom. I've heard from, I think, 90, how many is it right now? It is 96 students. Two students answered while I was making this video. So please make sure you answer that. That's how we take attendance, and I hope to hear from you soon in the future. Stay safe, wash your hands, stay inside, social distancing, cover your mouth, and just do your work. Love you guys. Bye.